Welcome to Programming Concepts in Python. Today's topic, zip functions. This is my disclaimer and let's jump straight into it. So I got okay, let's make this slightly bigger for our eyes. I think that looks much better. Great. Cool. So I'm gonna go through what the zip function is. It's basically a way of combining multiple iterable, and this could be your a list or to a list, as we're gonna see shortly. And zip pairs element from two or more iterable, like I said before, into a tuple. So stopping when the shortest iterable is exhausted, and it's great for combining related data like names and scores. And this is very interesting to note, that automation, and we're going to see that in action shortly. So why use it, and why I use it? It keeps loops clean and readable, working with parallel list, and sometimes there may not be a way to relate them than using the zip. So this is useful. Couple of features, like we already mentioned, combine multiple iterable into tuples, stops at the shortest iterable automatically, which is cool, especially if you have, we can assure that maybe the two lists that we try to combine have around about at least 90 items, and one of them can have more than the other, and we don't care about anything above 90 items. And this will be a cool way to handle that without having to write a line of code. It works seamlessly in for loops and comprehensions, and also use zip iterable to unzip combined data. So this is cool. And we then have a link for the documentation, and you can go on the website and check the actual explanation in a more detailed way, and possibly more link and sources for you to play around. So, and that being said, we have a couple examples to go through. So for the sake of keeping ourselves focused here, so we're gonna go example by example. And the first one, I have two list items. One is the name and the other one is scores. So we have Kojo, Akwem, and Tando. And what I'm trying to achieve here, I'm trying to pair the names with the scores. So we have Kojo has a 90, Akwem has 70, and Tando has an 88. So those need to be paired and in this particular order. So you could go and do this manually and without any issue. However, I want to make use of the zip, and one thing you will notice, there's no reason to import it, meaning it's inbuilt, and you just have to write the keyword zip, and voila, you can pass in your iterable, and then zip will handle that behind the scene. I did mention that I'm gonna also show the way how this is done. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to add another name, or rather say another value here. So, and let's just add a value of 79, and run this code. So we're just gonna run it, uv main, and boom. As you can see, Python run the code, and the zip help us iterate until the last the shortest list item. So name had 3 items and score had 4, and therefore zip proceed according to the 3 items. So that was just to demonstrate this one quickly. Now we can look into the structure of the code. So all I'm doing is I am using zip, and zip is combining these two lists as if they were one, and then I am pulling the value, the first value being the names because of the position of the first iterable, and then the score is the second value I'm pulling from the score because also the position of the iterable. So if you swap them around, you're gonna get the value of score being returned on the name and the value of names being returned on the score. So just something to keep in mind. And I'm just using a print right here, just f string, pass in the value, and that's what you're able to see over here. So that is a first example using our zip. Now we're gonna move on to the second example here, and this one we're gonna be using a dictionary. Now let me just clear my screen here. So here I have again two lists, and I'm gonna keep the concept going. So here I'm gonna put in 88. No, we already have 88, so let's keep it at 79 since we don't have a 79. Cool. So we already have a so basically we have a list of names, 3 names, Kojo again, Akwem and Tando, and then we have scores of 90, 75, and 88, and 79 is the odd one here. So now I'm using dictionary. That's also another built-in method or function, if we want to call it that way, that is available, and this allows us to turn the values into a dictionary where we can have Kojo here 90, Akwem 75, Tando 88. So once again, you can do this manually, but for the sake of saving ourselves a couple lines of code and time, we're gonna use this approach. And if we run this code, and Python will handle these transformation behind the scene and build the key value mapping directly, and then storing into a student score. And what we end up with is something like this. So we're gonna go ahead and run our code, and as you can see, I have Kojo 90 here, Akwem 75, Tando 88, and as you can see, once again 79 is excluded. If I say for example unknown and rerun the code again, you'll see that I do get the value of unknown, which is cool when you understand how these things work. Cool. So I'm gonna clear my terminal, and that is it for the second example. So I'm going to be looking at the third example, and this one is allowing us to do a triple or 3 lists together, which is possible. So what we can do, and if you hover over zip, you can actually see that there is space for more. And just remember the principle that this is going to be stopping at the shortest iterable automatically. So you may have that's something to keep in mind because it plays a bigger role, especially if you have a long set of data and maybe you have some sort of idea as to whereabout you want to stop, and you don't care about any value past that position, that index within your list. So now, so what we want to do, we want to zip more than 2 iterable. Each loop unpacked all values. Same concept as before. We pass in the first iterable, second iterable, and the third iterable, and we get the value. As you see, the name is going to be 4. the name that's been pulled, score, and then we do a print right after it. So nothing extra, similar to the first example we had earlier on, and just that at this stage we're adding an extra value. So now what we can do, we can probably try and do, let's see, we're gonna add a letter here, and that's gonna be letter Z. So and then we're gonna add another one here. We're gonna say, for example, 79, and we're gonna add another name here, and we'll go, and that's gonna be so if we run this, we should stop at the value of 79, which is gonna be actually we're just gonna remove this and that. So we should stop at a value of 75 because that's the shortest iterable between the three, and therefore we're not going to get a value for Tando, and we'll call same for A, B, and Z, one be appearing. So if I run that code, and I'm getting exactly that, as you can see, the shortest dictates how far we can go. So this is cool stuff, and there is a logic behind this, and also a room and places where you can use this. It just depends on your use case. So the last one, let me just undo that in case I want to reuse that later on. So the last example is basically gonna be more or less the same, the exception that this time around we are doing some sort of conversion. Now I have names, so first of all I need to bring names and scores. I did not add that, so let's add it quickly. So I need to bring names and score here so that we not warn. Cool. So I have the names and scores, and I want to pair them in the list of tuples. So it's gonna return an iterator wrapping it in list, and shows all pairs at once. So basically we have our tuples there in a list of tuples. So let's run this. So simple again, create a variable, use the word list here because that's what we want to end up having at the end of the day, and then use our keyword zip, and then combine the two iterable, and boom, we have our tuples, a list of tuples running right here. So clear our terminal and run the code one more time, and you can see we have a list of tuples. Again, if we have to remove one of these items and rerun the code one more time, we only display with the two first values and scores being the shortest, and therefore zip stops right there. So I hope you've learned something new. Until next time, keep well. Bye-bye.